There are a lot of interesting debates in basketball at the moment. You have the whole Steph Curry versus Magic Johnson debate, a debate over the literal meaning of the title world champions. And there's still a large debate on who's the best player in the world, with the two candidates being Giannis and Nikola Jokic. However, one debate that has started to simmer is this one. Is LeBron James still a top 10 player in the NBA? LeBron James has dominated the NBA for 2 decades now, and as he started to hit the end of his prime back in 2019, there were a lot of questions surrounding his ranking among other players. But of course, the questions disappeared after winning his 4th NBA championship in 2020. However, they've come back since 2022 after the Lakers missed the playoffs. There was a narrative circulating that he could no longer carry a team to a title like in years past, which might be true to a certain extent. I don't think it should ever be forgotten what type of rosters he led to the NBA Finals. The history of the game has yet to be able to replicate that. So that's where this whole debate starts. Even at his age, he's still expected to carry the Lakers to the promised land. And if he fails, then everyone will say he's washed. But just because you can no longer carry a mediocre team to the finals doesn't necessarily mean you're not a top 10 player. It really just means you don't have the best supporting cast. But it has nothing to do with your particular ability and skill. Joel Embiid, Devin Booker, and Jason Tatum have never led their teams to a finals win. Yet they're undoubtedly top 10 players. And this whole debate hit the national media once CBS Sports released a top 100 player rankings where they had James placed 12th. First, let's talk about why he was placed outside the top 10. For starters, he's gonna be 39 years old during next season. And not only that, but injuries are something to be concerned about. Over the past few seasons, he's had his fair share of injuries, such as a lingering ankle problem that creeps up more frequently than ever. But outside of injuries, let's break it down to determine if he's still a top 10 player. The easiest way to do that is to list off players we all agree are better than him. The first player's gotta be Nikola Jokic, the 2-time MVP, who is coming off an historic season and capped it off by winning his first ring. He averaged 24 points, 11 rebounds, and 9 assists while shooting 63% from the field and 82% from the free throw line. LeBron averaged 29, 8, and 6 while shooting 50% from the field, 32% from 3, and 76% from the free throw line. So yeah, the Joker's numbers mostly crush James's numbers. But we know stats aren't everything, so it's only suitable that we compare their impact. The Nuggets finished first in the Western Conference with Jokic as their leader, while the Lakers finished 7th. And it's not like the Nuggets had a stacked team either. Their best supporting cast players were Jamal Murray, Aaron Gordon, Michael Porter Jr., Bruce Brown, and KCP. All really good players, but not superstars, aside from maybe Jamal Murray. The Lakers have Anthony Davis, Austin Reeves, Dennis Schroeder, and Kendrick Nunn. And that was before the trade deadline. And then the Lakers picked up a few more impact players like Rui Hachimura. The next player we know for sure is better is Giannis, the Greek freak. He averaged 31, 11, and 5 while being the best two-way player in basketball. That doesn't even need an explanation. Then there's Luka Doncic, the triple-double machine. He averaged 32, 8, and 8. While his team did miss the playoffs, there's no question the 24-year-old brings more to the table for his team than the King. The next player we gotta put over him is Steph Curry. The 2-time MVP averaged 30, 5, and 6 in the playoffs while putting up one spectacular performance after another. Even at 35, Steph is still the Warriors' entire offense, making his impact greater than just about every other player in the NBA, except for maybe outside of Jokic. With Curry's improved defense, his overall impact increased even more, making him at least twice as valuable. Then the next player is Kevin Durant, the Slim Reaper. He averaged 29 points, 8 rebounds, and 5.5 assists per game in the postseason. During the regular season, he had a career-high true shooting percentage of 67%, which was the best of any player with a usage rate of at least 30%. He was also second in the NBA in efficiency as a pick-and-roll handler. And to add to that, he averaged the most points per possession as a spot-up shooter than anyone else in the league. KD was flat-out unstoppable on all 3 levels. While Durant's and James's roles within their offenses are different, it's safe to say that KD has the upper hand here. Then, on the other end of the floor, he averaged 1.4 blocks per game. His help-side rim protection and underrated versatility on defense established his ranking even further. The reigning MVP, Joel Embiid, received a lot of backlash after winning the award. board. However, there's no denying this man's dominance. He averaged 33 points, 10 rebounds, and 4 assists per game. He topped LeBron in almost every category. He's a better post scorer, rebounder, defender, and free throw shooter. He's just more efficient than James all across the board. I know there's going to be people out there who say LeBron is better just because the Embiid hate is at an all-time high, but you just can't make a logical case about him being better than the MVP. Then, if Jason Tatum didn't get injured in Game 7 of the Eastern Conference Finals, the Celtics very well could have beaten the Heat. He had just came off of a Game 6 where he scored 31 and grabbed 11 rebounds while also going 15 for 15 from the free throw line. And not to mention, his defense was spectacular, blocking 2 shots and coming away with 1 steal. In the second round of the playoffs, he set an NBA record for the most points ever scored in a Game 7 when he dropped 51 to defeat the 76ers. His 3-ball can be inconsistent, but he's still a top 5 scorer in the NBA and one of the better defensive wings in the game. He's over James for sure. And now here's where we get into a gray area, where things get a little tricky and maybe even controversial. However, Devin Booker is the better player. He had a phenomenal series versus the Nuggets, averaging 28 points, 6 rebounds, and 6 assists while shooting 53% from the field, 87% from the free throw line, and an insane 43% from 3. Booker's ability to create for himself is arguably the best in the NBA after that series. His elite mid-range and finishing skills were on full display. And in round 1 versus the Clippers, he averaged 30 points that series, while being the playoff leader in steals per game. If this video were made a year before, then we most likely would have had the king over Booker. But Book made a major statement. There isn't one player in the NBA who can stop him from getting buckets. So now, to recap everything, that's now 7 players who we can all agree are better than James at this stage in his career. Those players are Nikola Jokic, Giannis, Luka, Steph, Durant, Embiid, Tatum, and Devin Booker. But this list is about to expand to 8 because Jimmy Butler showed the world he could single-handedly take down the most talented defensive team in the NBA, who, by the way, possessed 2 of the best defenders of this generation in Jrue Holiday and Giannis. He put up Michael Jordan numbers in that series, averaging 37 points and 6 rebounds while shooting 59% from the field and 44% from 3. He even played terrific defense, but that's almost expected from Jimmy Buckets. And with Giannis being out, he was the best 2-way player in the playoffs. But now, here we are. This is where CBS Sports lost me, because they placed Damian Lillard and SGA before LeBron. First, let's compare him and Dame. He averaged 32 points, 4 rebounds, and 7 assists throughout 58 games last season. He was also an elite 3 and free throw shooter, so Dame was impressive. Much like Steph, he was his team's entire offense. The Blazers' efficiency jumped from 105.9 points per possession to an elite 119.5 when he was on the court. However, let's consider what LeBron did in the Western Conference Finals. The 38-year-old averaged 27 points, 9 rebounds, 10 assists, and 1.5 steals while shooting 52% from the field. LeBron's play on both ends of the court was more than impressive. I don't see Dame performing that well on that big of a stage. He's really yet to prove it. But not many people are taking Dame over James when the playoffs come around, even at 39. And SGA is in the same boat as Dame, except a little bit worse. We know he can ball. But could you seriously see SGA impacting a playoff series like LeBron? Maybe he could if given the chance, and maybe I'm wrong. But the eye test would tell you no, and until he does it, we've got no reason to believe he can. To be clear, the gap between the two isn't much. I'm splitting hairs here because SGA is legit. You don't average 31 points throughout 68 games on accident. Then you add in that he's one of the best passers and finishers in the NBA, and you have an excellent case when comparing these two. But again, we just haven't seen it when it matters most. So there you have it. We have LeBron James ranked 9th in the NBA. Yes, he is still a top 10 player. Could this change during the season? Of course. But for now, this is our official ranking for LeBron James. But let us know where you have him ranked in the comments down below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.